Married women are at high risk for trafficking and sexual exploitation. This is not talked about in the trafficking field very often, and that is because married women who have had this experience don't want to come forward because they are cloaked in shame and silence, believing that they had some kind of weird affair and they were willing participants and they don't want to lose their husbands, their kids, their family, their careers. They're being silenced, they're being blackmailed, and I'm here to talk about it. I'm here to talk about and stand up for women who this is happening to. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Lisa Czak. Welcome to Worthy Woman Healing, where we help women heal their mind, body, and soul from trauma and can have peace and clarity on next steps to take in their life. I would love to give you a free gift of my morning meditation where you get to decide every single day how you want to feel. No one can take that away from you. Viktor Frankl is the one that introduced me to this concept, and that's how he survived the concentration camp. He realized that the Nazis can take everything away from him, but the one thing they cannot take away, that no one can ever take away, is how you feel. Click the link below and get yourself, no matter what's going on in your life, the circumstance, situation, person that you might be with. This is going to help you so that you remember you are in control of how you feel every single day, no matter what. So on today's episode, we're talking about how married women are at extremely high risk for sexual exploitation and sex trafficking. And this is even worse in domestic violence situations. I don't hear a lot of this talk going on in the trafficking field, and it's Anti-Trafficking Awareness Month, so I am shedding light on this. I've already spoken on this subject for a task force in North Carolina and at the federal level for the United States Health and Human Services Department. And this is so important for counselors to hear, and therapists and pastors, any clergy, because domestic violence in itself is something that goes under the radar, right? A lot of women, especially Christian women, are told, oh, forgive, pray more, right? They're told all of these things that make it feel like they're to blame, like it's their fault. And they feel shame too, right? Especially for Christian women, because as a Christian women, we know how our husbands are supposed to treat us. It's supposed to be a sacrificial love, that your husband would die for you like Jesus died on the cross. And that is the kind of love that a husband's supposed to show. So when a husband is being abusive, whether that be physical abuse, mental, emotional, financial, sexual, any kind of abuse, it's very shameful for a Christian woman. And what can happen is these predators prey upon that. And they see that there is a crack in her spiritual foundation, right? And so they hone in on that and they rip that crack, that little crack, they rip it wide open until suddenly the woman is in a situation she never thought she'd be in. And she probably doesn't even know she's in it. I talked about that in the last episode, how trafficking victims and victims who are sexually exploited do not see it as that. This is even worse in domestic abuse situations because the woman doesn't see herself as being abused. She doesn't. She does not see it. When she's in it, she knows something's off. She knows, especially if she's Christian, she knows she's not being treated right. And there's shame involved. So she suffers in shame and silence, knowing that her husband isn't treating her right. And she is so vulnerable for exploitation at this point because she is searching and is desperate for the knight in shining armor to whisk her away. And that's when the predators show up as the knight in shining armor to whisk her away and make her believe that she is a willing participant. And sex traffickers, sexual predators, those that exploit married women, love married women. They think that there are the perfect victims for one reason, because they will keep their mouth shut. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. You will keep your mouth shut because you have a lot to lose. You have a husband, you have a daughter, you have a career where you are very high profile on social media. So you will be quiet or I will out you. Now, in domestic abuse situations, this is even worse because then the sexual predator is saying to the woman, your husband already beats you. Your husband already will cut you off, has been known to cut you off financially. If I tell him what's going on, if he finds out what you did, he will cut you off financially. He will beat you to a pulp. All these things, they instill fear in the woman. But first, they groom her to believe you don't deserve to be treated like that. If you were my wife, I would lay down my life for you. He is lucky to be, it's his privilege to be married to you. And they start grooming the woman. The woman starts sharing all the secrets of the marriage that's going on that she hasn't told anyone. Or even worse, she has told pastors and counselors who have dismissed her and invalidated her and told her to pray more, told her that she just needs to forgive her husband. And instead of actually helping her get to safety, right? And so it makes her very vulnerable when these predators come along and zone right in on that because she starts sharing her heart. She starts casting her pearls, right? Before swine, as they say. But the predator doesn't start trampling her heart until later, until there's been trust built. And maybe he's gotten her to believe, hey, I'll pay for your lawyer. I'll pay for you to get divorced. And maybe she actually does take the money and does get divorced, and then she ends up in a worse situation. Do you want to end anxiety now? Are you feeling anxious when you wake up in the morning with that heart racing, that overwhelmed feeling in your brain of everything you have to do for that day, feeling stressed out before your feet even hit the floor? I have got the solution for you. My free morning meditation will get you started every morning, remembering that you and only you are in control of your feelings. So no matter what your circumstance, situation, or person in your life is trying to drag you down, you get to decide how you want to feel each and every day. End anxiety, overwhelm, stress now. Click the link below. You are worth it. So as counselors and therapists, nonprofits, I want all of you in the helping professional to listen to this today, to be on the lookout for domestic violence, number one. Really lean into what this woman is telling you and don't write her off as being codependent. That happens a lot to domestic abuse survivors. They go in for counseling and they're told, forgive. You need to forgive more. They're given forgiveness prayers. Oh, you're codependent. No, you're not codependent. You're just trying to figure out, how do I need to act so that the abuse doesn't escalate, right? And be on the lookout for if she's saying to you, well, I met this guy, or if she's even saying to you, I'm having an affair, or I'm not sure what it is. This guy's promising me all these things. And it could actually be that she's being sexually exploited or sex trafficked. Those are interchangeable, by the way, right? Sexual exploitation is trafficking. Trafficking is sexual exploitation. I'm saying those interchangeably because it can happen in a variety of ways. And this can especially happen online, right? Suddenly, maybe someone from her past that she knew comes up, like what happened to me, right? This guy that I hadn't talked to in 30 years suddenly appears and he is saying all the right things. And my marriage was crumbling at the time and it was very unhealthy and toxic. And he zoned right in on that. But again, it was missed, right? I even missed it. So remember that abuse, women who are going through abuse don't see themselves as victims of abuse. And then on top of it, if they are being exploited or trafficked, they're not going to see that either. So they might be presenting, they might come into your office presenting as, I had an affair, or my marriage is just doing really bad and I turned to another man. You want to dig deeper. And she is going to, you got to ask the right question also, right? It's not, oh, is this other guy hurting you? Is he harming you? It's, no, what is he doing to make you feel extra special? Are you pouring out your heart to him? Is he the best listener you've ever experienced in your life? Do you feel like he knows you better than anyone else has known you? Because if you ask, is anyone hurting you? She's going to say no. Because number one, she's afraid of her husband, right? If she's in a domestic abuse situation. And number two, if she's getting exploited and trafficked, it's not, she could be in the grooming phase. She could be in that coercion phase. And remember, abuse and trafficking, both, the trafficker and abuser, it's not always bad. Because people say that all the time. Why doesn't she just leave? Why didn't she just leave her abusive marriage, her abusive husband? Why didn't she just leave the trafficker? Well, it's not always bad. They vacillate. It's intermittent reinforcement, which is one of the most powerful manipulation tools, coercion tools out there. Stalin used it. Hitler used it. Nazis used it. So it's so that you're love bombed, but then it's taken away or you're treated really cruel. So you're treated like the best you've ever been treated, and then you come crashing down and it's the worst you've ever been treated. So keep that on your radar. This is for helping professionals. I can't stress this enough. Domestic violence victims, women in very unhealthy marriages, toxic marriages, destructive marriages, whatever you want to label it as, are extremely vulnerable to being exploited and trafficked because the traffickers and the predators know she is going to stay quiet. She has more to lose because she's married, she has kids, maybe a job, church, community. So it makes married women very vulnerable. And remember, you are worth it.